Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Still with me, I see. How very brave. Welcome back to Let's Play Touhou 13, 10 Desires, episode number 5. So, here we are. The mysterious place that everybody kept talking about and everybody wanted to protect from us and outsiders. The Great Dream Palace Mausoleum. Finally, we have reached this place. Finally, we have found out where all the spirits are gathering, and now only a few very important questions remain. First of all, who is this sealed sage? Second, are the spirits even aware of that they are being absorbed? And third, is the person who is supposedly about to be resurrected evil? Well, I guess there's only one way to find out. Like always, let the battle begin. Oh my god, really? Can we go nowhere in this place without being attacked randomly out of nowhere? Well, ladies and gentlemen, meet Soga no Toshiko. She is a ghost, and she was once a member of the ancient and powerful Japanese Soga family, and guess what? She also served the person who is resting within this tomb and who is about to be resurrected. Now, Miss Toshiko here was originally supposed to be resurrected again as a human. However, due to certain connections she had to other people when she was still alive, she decided to stay as a ghost, because she didn't really care about a fragile human shell. And so, here she is, freshly resurrected, charged up with magic, and not willing to let anybody reach her master. Well, I have to see that master, so I'm sorry, but it is time to exorcise this evil demon. Bring it on. Hey, can you believe it? We are still in one piece and about to enter the tomb. Isn't that great? And we didn't even die a single time yet. Maybe we can finally reach the end of this mysterious adventure without any more strange encounters. Wait a minute. Okay, I spoke too soon. Never mind. Well, alright. Unlike the last encounter with Soga no Toshiko, this one here is actually very important. Ladies and gentlemen, say hello to Mononobe no Futo, a human Taoist, who was resurrected just a few minutes ago through the powers of the divine spirits. And now, some of you might have guessed it already, we are going to take a look at the backstory of Miss Futo here, just like with Miss Kakus. Believe me, her backstory is very interesting, and just in case you are afraid that it's going to be another huge bit of dialogue, oh, Mononobe's story is actually bigger than Sega's, so I hope you are all ready. But since you are still with me, you obviously made it through the backstory of episode 4, and therefore I am expecting you to make it through this one as well. Believe me, it's very interesting, and afterwards you will probably feel a little bit more sorry, or maybe even angry at her, once you know some of her motivations. In any case, let us take a look at Mononobe no Futo's past. A long time ago, about 1400 years, many things were being introduced from across the sea to the country of Japan in terms of technology, human beings, and religions, and some of them would greatly influence the direction that the country's main belief, Buddhism, would take. Because of these changes, the country was soon divided into pro- and anti-Buddhist factions, which dug in more over time. The Mononobe family, descendants of a god, was in the anti-Buddhist faction, while the Soga family, descendants of the humans, was in the opposite. A long and religious conflict resulted from their differences and beliefs, which ended in tragedy. The battles between the two factions grew so vicious that with each passing day, the Mononobe family destroyed more and more symbols of Buddhism, throwing over statues, and even burning down entire temples. But what nobody had expected to happen was that sometime after these acts, an epidemic suddenly began to spread throughout the country, eventually resulting in the passing of the emperor. To most people nowadays, it would have been just a terrible coincidence, but back then, many people believed in godly entities and supernatural powers, and so the Soga family proclaimed it to be a curse which had been caused by the blasphemic acts of the Mononobe family. This statement quickly rallied support in Soga's favor, who was eventually given permission to bring the Mononobe into submission, eventually resulting in the latter's destruction. After that fateful day, the beliefs of Buddhism continued to exist and spread, and the religious war between the Mononobe and Soga had finally ended. However, what nobody else was aware of was that a certain someone had been pulling her very own strings from behind the scenes ever since the war began. Futo, a daughter of the Mononobe. Young Futo worshipped at the altar of an entirely different faith, Taoism, the power to draw energy from nature, resulting in superhuman abilities based on the user's own actions, as well as immortality. A belief which was particularly appealing to those with political power. Mononobe had long wished to be granted these powers, to become a hermit, so she could influence and eventually take control over parts of the country. But there was a problem. Taoism also had its weaknesses. It was not well suited for political control, as anyone could undergo the ascetic training necessary to become a hermit, and as a result of this, she decided to practice her Taoism in secret, waiting for an opportunity to present itself. And one day, that opportunity finally arrived. A fellow Taoist practitioner came to Futo with a special kind of plan to govern the country using the beliefs of Buddhism as a means to keep the citizenry pacified. Then they would cast an ancient technique of Taoism on their own deaths and be reborn as so-called Shikaisen, godlike immortal beings. Having decided on this, Futo became an ally of her old enemies, the Soga, and with the help of her friend and secret contact, Soga no Toshiko, she was able to manipulate the beings who had once simply protected Buddhism into becoming blind followers of it. This would ensure that many people would believe in Buddhism. It would ensure that her plan of pacifying the public would succeed. Of course, the Mononobe family was not pleased at all about all of it, and called Futo's actions dishonoring and blasphemic, a crime against their very own beliefs, a crime against her very own family. But young Futo was far beyond the point of caring about her family anymore. She had completely abandoned any form of love or respect towards them. And with everything planned out, Futo and her mysterious ally proceeded to take their very own lives, waiting for the glorious day of resurrection as divine beings. So, and there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, the backstory of Mononobe no Futo. And even though she was kind of a selfish being who wanted to gain control over her very own country, who abandoned her very own family, you can still say that her past was also sad and tragic, just like the one of Seiga Kaku. In any case, speaking of Seiga, I have to say that there are quite a few similarities between these two. First of all, both of them had a very tragic past and eventually started to practice Taoism. Both of them eventually took their very own lives to become celestial beings known as hermits, to gain immortality, and both of them are here in this very secret and mysterious mausoleum. You could now argue that Seiga Kaku was the mysterious Taoism practitioner who came to Futo 1400 years ago, telling her about the plan. However, that is out of the question, because you see, Seiga Kaku simply became a hermit because she wanted to enjoy life. She never really cared too much about politics. Futo, on the other hand, only cared about politics and wanted to control the country. Therefore, Seiga is not the mysterious ally. Who it is, we are still unaware of, and I am pretty sure that we will very soon find out. But enough of the backstory for now. I am pretty sure all of you are curious as to what Miss Futo here has to say to Remo, so let us take a look at the conversation. First of all, the conversation between the two is actually extremely epic, and you want to know why? Because Miss Futo speaks in Old English, and only in Old English. Want an example? Here's the very first thing she says upon seeing Rimu. "Ah, the fateful day hath finally come. Thou who hast blessed my resurrection, speak now and name thyself." Indeed, and she speaks like that in every single sentence. So, the conversation basically revolves about Futo assuming that Rimu is the one responsible for her resurrection, which is of course not the case. After realizing this, Futo becomes a little bit more cautious and aggressive, and concludes that Rimu must have come to this place to harm her still unresurrected master, and continues to speak the following words. "I shall vanquish thee, and so return to the world of the living in full. Then the crown prince shall rise anew. Know that I harbor for thee no malice in mine heart. Now prepare thyself, for I shall demonstrate the fusion of the secret art of the Mononobe and the way of the Tao upon thee." Well then, fighting a human warrior who uses the same powers as Seiga Kaku, well, it feels kind of unfair to fight you because you only just woke up. You probably don't even know what kind of time period you're in, your powers are most likely not yet fully developed, but you still want to save your master at all costs. Well, if you are not going to step out of my way, then I guess I have no other choice but to use force. Bring it on. And that's that. Looks like we have a victor. I'm sorry, Miss Futo, but victory shall not belong to you today. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it seems that we've won. And even Miss Futo here appears to be rather surprised because of it, and she starts talking about how can this be? How could my strength have lost to thee? And she's basically all over the place, not really realizing what's going on. Fair to say, really, that Rimu is very confused as well. She doesn't know who she just defeated, and she's just like, well, is it over? Can I move on now, whoever you were? But that is exactly when Mononobe finally realizes what all the divine spirits around her and all over the place are for, and that the resurrection of her master is at hand. Having realized this important fact, she then quickly concludes her speech by thanking Rimu for the rousing battle and then leaving, seemingly fading back into the nothingness. And what is Rimu's opinion about it all? Well, she is still very confused about who she just fought and wonders why a bad guy would thank her for a battle that she lost. In any case, Rimu then decides to simply ignore it and finally head into the mysterious tomb to bring an end to the divine spirit incident. Well, ladies and gentlemen, and with that, we have another stage off the list. Stage number 5 completed. So, what is my opinion about the difficulty on normal mode? Well, the stage itself, I have to admit, is actually easier in my opinion than stage number 4. There's only one really tricky bit at the end really, where all the fairies start to shoot stuff all over the place, and you need to use a bomb or spirit attack there anyway, because you can get lots of green and purple spirits, so excluding that moment, the entire stage is really not that much of a challenge. Of course, only if you memorize everything once again. And my opinion about the bosses, well, Miss Soga no Toshiko, she is not really worth mentioning. Her spell card can be a little bit confusing because of the rapid bullet pattern, but it's overall not that dangerous as long as you know what you're doing. And Mononobe no Futo, well, she has a few tricky attacks, and they will only get more tricky on hard difficulty, but overall, I'd say that the stage 5 boss of Touhou 12 was still more difficult than Mononobe. But you know, it is excusable because like I said at the beginning of this LP, the Touhou creator himself once stated that he would make this game a little bit easier to suit a wider audience. So Mononobe may be a little bit easier, but it's still a lot of fun to fight her. However, now the question is, how difficult is our young resurrected Taoist going to be on hard difficulty? Well, let me just say, if you thought so far that practice mode gives you way too many lives and that there is no challenge in trying to survive at all, this stage is where that will all change. Just watch the fight and keep a good eye on the life counter, and then you will see what it truly means to fight a resurrected Taoist. With that said, let us head into stage 5 once again, and let us try to bring an end to Mononobe no Futo once and for all. And bam! Half-hour mark. Who would have thought that these simple Touhou videos would turn out to be such long freaking tales? I mean, half an hour? Really? I actually was surprised that this video turned out to be this long. After the last episode I thought, maybe I can make them a little bit shorter again, but nope. Turns out they are just going to get longer. Don't worry though, ladies and gentlemen, there's only one stage left. As for my final thoughts on the stage on hard difficulty, I really have not a lot to say. The stage and the mid-boss, they are a little bit trickier, but still not really all that bad. The boss, however, Mononobe no Futo, you saw how often I died. That was mainly due to the reason though that the pattern of a lot of attacks is always random, and you can't always be perfect. For example, her very first attack with the boat. I died, I believe, 2 times on this hard run. However, I was able to best the fireball attack without any deaths. Another time though, when I played this stage, I was able to survive the first boat attack without any deaths, while the fireball attack caused me to lose countless lives. It's always different, and you can never have it as you want it to be. In any case, once again, that's it. Stage number 5 completed, and now there's only the final stage left. What will await us inside the tomb? Who will await us in there? What are the plans of this mysterious sage? Is she going to threaten the world? Or is she maybe totally innocent and doesn't deserve to die? Well, we are going to find out all that in not the final episode, but the final stage of Touhou 13. Like always, ladies and gentlemen, I hope that you enjoyed this episode. If you did, maybe like it, maybe leave a comment, I'd greatly appreciate it, and I hope that you will enjoy all future episodes as well. So, with all that said, thank you very much for watching and listening, have a nice day, and I will see you next time.